So today on the channel from the Major Bendies Big Rubber Guys line, we got a double dose of Hacksaw Jim Duggan in the regular and variant edition.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Major Bendies Big Rubber Guys unboxing and review. And today, like a true tough guy, we got two Hacksaw Jim Duggans to unbox. But for all your Major Bendies and Bigger Rubber Guys needs, hit up MajorBendies.com. That's where you can go. Of course, they have pre-orders seemingly all the time between the two companies there. And then we've got the Major All-Stars around the corner as well. So a lot going on in the Major Bendies world and a lot going on here at the table. And of course, we're going to do this unboxing like we do all the other unboxings on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there, and I actually picked up another set of these. These are actually the ones I won off of Brian Myers Whatnot, so shout out to Brian Myers out there. I had money in my Whatnot account that I had to get out of there from credits from Whatnot, so I said, you know, I got to find something. I just don't have the time to watch Whatnot auctions. That's my problem. I'm just a man of limited time. You guys know that. So I happened to go in there. Brian Myers was doing it, popped into his show. This was going on. I said, you know what? I can win this for the credit I had in there. And there you go, got these for that price. So it felt like they were kind of free, even though nothing's really free in life, but it felt a little bit free for me. Of course, I do have these two coming, I think, next week in the mail. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those two. Do I sell them to get my money back, or do we use them as a future giveaway on the channel? We'll see. I got quite the giveaway pile already. I don't know if I need to add to it or not. Long story short, we got two of them here today, and I'm ready to dive into these ones. And I guess we'll go in order. We'll go regular version, then chase version. How about? And I'm glad they went the chase version on this one. An easy layup. I hope to see in the future they do the same thing with Dusty Rhodes. Of course, we've got a big rubber guy, Dusty Rhodes, around the corner. Would love to see him in the makeup to match the Road Warriors. I think that would be an easy layup just like this one. I think that would be a really cool way to go. We'll see if that happens in the future. But we got the old Hacksaw right here. Perennial favorite. We all remember Hacksaw Jim Duggan, of course, back in the day. Still to this day, making towns, autograph sessions, you name it. A guy that survived cancer and numerous hospital stays for all kinds of illnesses and stuff, man. Truly a tough guy. He doesn't just say it. He lives up to it, of course. And a guy that actually had an LJN way back in the day that we do remember. A childhood favorite of mine, of course. We'll compare that later on in this very video. But Hacksaw looking good. Of course, Big Rubber Guys, Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, Big Rubber Guys, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, big bubble window, great for autographs, of course. Then on the back, look at that. Look at that cross-sell. That thing just keeps growing and growing and growing. More figures every single day. I believe Magnum PI, I almost said, Magnum TA ships with these as well for those keeping track at home. So be on the lookout for a little Magnum unboxing on the channel sooner rather than later. And I do save my packaging on these Big Rubber Guys. I think you guys know that by now. So you can give it a nice gentle off to the side. See you later. But let's dive into old Hacksaw Jim Duggan here. Very interesting. Now, first thing we see is the 2x4. Much bigger than the old LJN 2x4 of old. Nice plastic. Got a little bit of bend to it here. Definitely looks like a 2x4, but it is very, very big. But it is on brand. You can't have a Hacksaw figure without a 2x4. So I'm very happy we got that one. But now we got old Hacksaw out of the package. First thing I noticed, I do got a little bit of a scuff on the front of his nose there and a little bit of scuff on his abs right out of the package. And once again, your mileage may vary on that one. Very, very minimal. Might even be able to get that off with a dry eraser, possibly. But it does look like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. A little blonde in the hair, but I guess back in the 80s, he did have a little bit of blonde highlights for a while. He had some different hair going, but it almost reminds me of Big John Studd in the head department on this one here with the black beard, brown beard, with the blue blonde hair over the top. But it does also look like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. But I think if somebody pulled the head off this one, they could be confused with maybe even Michael P.S. Hayes. Who knows? But a definitely interesting looking Hacksaw there. Got the whites in the eye there, of course. Two big caterpillars for eyebrows raised up there. Hacksaw's in distress. He's screaming out tough guy. He's screaming out ho. And of course, he's giving the old thumbs up there. Not just for hitchhiking anymore. A whole generation correlates the thumbs up with the ho, as we do know. But looking good there with the thumbs up. And then, of course, you got a gripping hand over here that grips the 2x4. 2x4 fits in his hand, hopefully. Hopefully, yes, it does, and it's not going anywhere. It's pretty steady in there, so you're not going to lose that. But you got to have that 2x4 with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. It's just a guaranteed thing you got to have. Blue trunks on Hacksaw. I think when people think of Hacksaw, they usually think of him in blue. We've seen him in a singlet in the past. We saw him in like kind of baggy shorts at the end of his career. We remember that. Then we also remember him in the black trunks early on in his career here. But the blue, the most iconic. Got the blue and white down here. Got the blue knee pads, white underneath, white shoelaces, blue boots. Looking like Hacksaw. And of course, no articulation with these guys. We know that. Big rubber guys on the bottom. TM 2024 Major Bendies. All rights reserved. Every single right, it's reserved. And Hacksaw, look at that, stands up on his own. That's a key. Love that. Not all the LJNs stand up. Not all the big rubber guys stand up on their own. Hacksaw will stand on his own. So shout out to old Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And shout out to the Chase variant, I guess variant edition here. Looking good. Hacksaw, he's got the colorful 2x4. I like that attention to detail. And then, of course, he has the face paint going on. We remember that, of course, when he teamed up with Demolition, old Axe and Smash. Move over, Crush. Hacksaw's coming in. Would have been amazing if they would have just kept Hacksaw as a member of Demolition. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? But Hacksaw looking pretty good here in the face paint. You know me, I'm a sucker for face paint. Off to the side, gentle, see you later. But identical figure, as you can imagine here. Everything outside of the head is the exact same. Got to get the most out of your molds. We know how that goes between these two. But you got Hacksaw here, and he's got the dark hair on this one. So that sets the precedent here. A little earlier, Hacksaw with the blonde highlights. Pure dark here. I like that they didn't just use the hair over here onto this one. They changed it up. That's the little details like that do matter for sure. Love the face paint on this. Red, white, and blue. We're ready to do another patriotic top 10. I mean, a couple of years ago, we did a top 10 patriotic wrestlers. Now you'd have to enter this Hacksaw in there. And, of course, the Elite one was high on the list. Basic one, actually, from Mattel back in the day they made of this. Would love to see an updated Elite version of this one of these days. Maybe even as an extra head there you could swap on. I think that would be very, very cool. I'm surprised Mattel hasn't got around to that. Maybe an Ultimate Hacksaw Jim Duggan. You know, that could happen. You can see that in the Legends line, an Ultimate Hacksaw. Give him with that second head there. Give him a soft goods singlet over the top if you want to add it. Of course, two different 2x4s. There's a lot you can do it right yourself. Mattel, let's get on it right there. But besides, everything else is identical here on old Hacksaw Jim Duggan. A little piece of plastic on his shoulder there. But the big difference, too, is, of course, the USA 2x4. Looks just like it. You've got USA written on there, of course. 2x4. Got to have that with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. No matter what Hacksaw Jim Duggan we're talking about, he better have a 2x4 with him. It is the calling card of old Hacksaw Jim Duggan. But there it is. A double dose of Major Bendies, Big Rubber Guys, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. A guy that fits in the line. But, of course, people have said, hey, we've been there before. Of course, had the LJN version way back in the day. We'll never forget the LJN Hacksaw. I had a lot of fun playing with this one as a kid. He's got the thumbs up hand on this one on the other side, though, this time. But you can kind of see the differences between the two. But, man, talk about a love letter to the LJNs. That's what we got here with Hacksaw Jim Duggan in the regular and the variant edition. So there it is. Hacksaw ×2. Major Bendies, Big Rubber Guys. What are your thoughts on this one? Pick up for you, pass for you, undecided for you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on this Hacksaw Jim Duggan figure, or I should say figures. And of course, while you're here, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thumbs up the video like Hacksaw would. Give it the old thumbs up. Always helps the channel, as you guys know. Check out the Patreon for all even more content every single day. ProWrestlingTees.com. And don't forget my book, The Complete Guide to the Jakks Classic Superstars series, over on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and now on Kindle. So if you're looking for that, check it out over there. And of course, social media, SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, and Instagram is where you're going to find me on social media. So for Hacksaw Jim Duggan ×3, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.